I saw that press conference. I'm sure a lot of our viewers saw that press conference of him doubling down on those defamatory statements, saying, I don't care, not showing any remorse. Was the Rudy Giuliani we saw on the steps and on different nightly programs, was that the same Rudy Giuliani that was in the courtroom that you saw?
Yeah, it's the same person. I mean, it's obviously he didn't take the stand. So he chose not to get up and try to explain himself. He didn't testify, even though he had the right to do so if he wanted to. Um, so we never hear him sort of speaking directly to the issues in the case, but we could hear him talking, muttering, talking during the testimony, and I know that there were members of the press sort of watching more closely than I was because I was focused on the witnesses and the jury. But I know people were watching what he was doing and what he was reading in the courtroom. And it seems to me, anyway, that the person you saw giving that press conference was sort of the same person sitting in the courtroom.
So let's break down the 148 million here. It's more than 33 million in damages for defamation, 40 million for emotional distress, and 75 million in punitive damages. What precedent is this setting, do you think, especially as we are about to head into an election year?
So I think the message that it sends is that there is a real price to pay for, leaving it. You've asked me the question in the context of an election year. So in the context of political, so sort of these political conspiracy theories, right? That some shadowy forces out there are actually responsible for an election being stolen or an election being rigged. I mean, if the message it sends is if you accuse civil servants, with no evidence of engaging in stealing an election, whether it's people who are processing ballots, or people who are working at a polling station, or people who are sitting on local election boards, these civil servants who are vital to the functioning of our democracy. Our elections can't work without them. And I think the message that this sends is that if you do that, you may pay a really steep price for it. And there are people who are willing to stand up and hold you accountable. And the judicial system is equipped to see those cases through and to provide real compensation for people. So I think there's probably been a sense over the years that these kinds of people, these sort of ordinary people, as they were referred to in the case, that they're sort of expendable, and that you can get away with sort of scapegoating people, or pretending that you have evidence that these people have done something. I hope the message that this sends is that you're not going to get away with that anymore. That there will be a real cost, there will be a real consequence, and that people need to pay attention to facts and what the evidence actually shows. And anybody who was listening to, the Gabriel Sterling, or people from the Georgia Secretary of State's office who were, led by an elected Republican at the time, in early December of 2020, were saying these videos don't show fraud. They show normal ballot processing. People were not kicked out of the arena. Ballots were not counted multiple times. If you understand how our systems work, you would understand what was happening was not abnormal. It was not unlawful. And the people who were counting ballots at State Farm didn't do anything wrong. They were being told that in real time. So I hope the messages we'll send is to listen to those election officials when they're providing explanations in real time.
Before I let you go, I do want to ask a question on a personal note. The judge in this case ordered Rudy Giuliani to pay around $130,000 in attorney's fees. So are you personally waiting on money from Mr. Giuliani?
It's more than that, actually. It's more than 130. I've forgotten what the total is at this point, but not really. I mean, my firm, Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, took this matter on pro bono and has provided. The firm has really been incredible in the support that it has provided to litigate this matter. We're chiefly focused on getting our clients compensation, and not not losing too much sleep over the fee awards that Mr. Giuliani has decided not to pay. Again, we hope that those fee awards will serve as a deterrent to others to understand you have to comply with your discovery obligations. And if you force us as lawyers to have to file a bunch of motions, discovery motions that we shouldn't have to file if you just followed the rules and played by the rules of litigation, we'll seek fees. I think that's an important message to send. But the thing that we're focused on is getting compensation for our clients.